me answer the question or get answers to the question of what is transformational leadership is Adegoke Omotola. He has got so many degrees, we don't have enough time today to share them. Just know that everything he's done correlates with and aligns with leadership. Customer retention, he's an author, he's of a couple of books. He's got his master's degree in property valuation. He's a John Maxwell certified leader, coach, and consultant. He's also aligned with Zig Ziglar. Both are very powerful individuals. In addition to that, he's very happily married, and he has a very happy family, and he lives in a couple of countries. Today, he's in London, but right now with us, he's on my show. So let's bring him up. Hello, good morning, and welcome.
How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well, except for it's not good morning for you. It's good.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Hey, thanks for being
here, Phil. Thank you so much.
So, you live in two places, and we were joking in the green room, but not at the same time, right? You're in London some of the time, and Nigeria the rest of the time.
It's correct. Yeah.
And I'm thinking that both places are warmer than where I am today, because we were talking about that as well. It's like minus 20. Oh, it's gone up a bit. It's minus 21 degrees Celsius here today.
Yeah. And mine is a bit warmer. Yeah. So I'm privileged to be on your show, Phil.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that you were able to fit us into your schedule. And I know you are really passionate about leadership, because like your podcast talks about, everything you do is about leadership. It's actually called Leadership
That's
Talk
right.
with Adegoke podcast. So let's hit right away at that's the question. What is transformational leadership?
Well, transformational leadership is leadership that is leadership that is inspiring, is leadership that is also strategic. So it's a combination of so many things. It's leadership that brings about change, positive change. All over the world right now, we have the pandemic, and so many things are happening at the same time. Omicron, Delta, so for any leader, right, either in the medical or engineering or IT or business, what we need right now is transformational leadership. Leadership that can solve problems, leadership that can stay ahead of the curve. No leadership, just in a few words.
Cool. I'm going to add this to the stream because this is one of the things with the company that I'm aligned with, changing the world through business leadership and education. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited to have you on here, because you align with what we're doing as business coaches around the globe. And this is pretty much a philosophy and a mandate right from the CEO and president of Focal Point. I had him on here a couple of sessions ago, and we talked about some of the leadership aspects of where we're at. But I wanted to get your insights about it and share that with the world. This is something that I came across, and I believe to be true. What do you think about that?
This is really awesome. I spoke about change. Embracing change, and I think ownership is also very important. You create an environment where there's momentum, and everyone takes ownership. You don't need to be the one leading. You can lead from the back. You can lead from the middle. It's all about delivering results. Yeah, transformational leadership. Yeah, awesome definition. Yeah.
One of the things that I've come across, and when I've introduced it to many people, they've never heard it before, and I don't want to. You might be in the same situation as most other people. I was introduced to two philosophies. One is the Newtonian leadership style, which is from the top down, do it or else, coercive motivation. Yeah. And the other one is the Whiteheadian approach, which is more amoebic. You described it, you can lead from the back, the middle, or the front. And a Whiteheadian leader philosophy is about that. Their self-esteem is high enough that they're not concerned about somebody who's maybe on the pay scale isn't getting paid as much as the CEO, but on the skill set level, they're much better, more efficacious than the CEO. and that CEO, he or she, is comfortable allowing that individual to lead that project within that culture of that company. That's so I strive in my own existence to be Whitehidian as often as I can. Have you ever heard it explained that way before?
Well, it's all about this. The example you just gave is about a CEO that is secure. It's all about leading an empowered team with quality for service, for results, and so the CEO is just trying to make sure that everyone pays their own fair share in terms of deliverables. So the CEO is not really leading, but is also he has his hands on and making sure that everyone is pushing. And so for the guy that is giving the opportunity, it's also a way of inspiring the gentleman to lead, show results. I just think that's a fantastic model, particularly right now. Okay, with COVID, some leaders have had to recalibrate. They have had to do differently just to deliver results. The leader doesn't need to always be visible, but if you've empowered your team, if you've inspired them, create an enabling environment, you just find that the organization becomes on a system that rides on autopilot. If I can say that, yeah.
So the fellow that I brought up there, Eric Bam, he's a leader in his own right. He's a specialist in building passionate people and selling products that make pizza better. And he's quite an interesting dude. He was recently just quoted in a magazine, so he gets a lot of airtime. And interesting leader. Matter of fact, I met him because of the pandemic. He put together a group called I'll air quotes. It's a mastermind, but he changed it and called it Megamind. And he got all of us and challenged all of us to leverage the heck out of technology. So he was one of the inspirational people to keep me going with my goal of being doing this type of a show. Here, let me see what Eric's saying about thoughts. Awesome. He said, a great leader sells vision and walks it daily with culture. Isn't that brilliant? Thanks for that, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just like what I said, it's about, it becomes a lifestyle, so leader doesn't necessarily have to be a scene, but it becomes, the culture of the organization is transformational. Everyone wants to rise to the occasion. Everyone wants to everyone wants to add value. So it's not just seen as a place where you're working. It's a place where you engage and you just want to, show up and put your face there and also put your hand. Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Eric.
Have you worked in an organization where they actually have been what you're talking about?
Well, combination. Back in the day, my first job was in McDonald's. So and it was quite interesting. I learned quite a number of skills there. So you right in front of the customers, and they're checking you out. They give you sort of training, empower you, and the more you rise through the leadership ladder, they give you stars, your badge, and it's a combination of so many things. Sometimes you facing customers, sometimes you're mopping the floor, sometimes you're welcoming the customers into the shop area. It's a combination of so many things. The money wasn't great, but it was an opportunity to learn. So I would like to say that McDonald's for me then way back was quite awesome. I mean,
have you had
I think I had a guest on my show. Go ahead.
You had the opportunity to work with any other organization. I don't need to know who they are. I'm just trying to get your experience where they actually where they actually had the kind of culture that you're talking about that you like to make sure that shows up in the world. Have you had other opportunities?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've had not once, not twice, and for me, it's helped me to also learn a few things. Entrepreneur for about 2 decades. That's also translated into living it out because you can't give what you don't have.
Right.
If you're in an environment where everyone is inspired, everyone is ready to do something positive, organization is just an autopilot. They deliver results year in year out. And with the pandemic, if you have an environment where there's transformational leadership, results are just visible. I know I don't want to begin to drop names on your show,
No,
because you're not paid for that.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking for that. I just want your experience, because in my existence of life over the last 60 or not, quickly 60 decades, no, 6 decades,
Yeah.
I would have to say, out of all of the opportunities I've had to work in as a career or as an entrepreneur, there's only been really three that are the amoebic white Hidian kind of companies that I got to work with. The rest of them were more like the Newtonian do it my way or the highway approach. Right? And in my coaching business, when I work with my clients, big or small, I work to help them find their culture that you're talking about so that they become that transforming leader, so that their business runs with or without them by choice, not by accident. And so they're empowering their people to lift them up. And if you empower people, they'll walk over coals, red hot coals or glass for you, more for being recognized and appreciated than they will for cash. What do you?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Privileged to be on the John Maxwell team, and John will say that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's all about caring about people.
I think
empathy is adaptability.
But yeah. Look at that quote. It says, "No one cares about you until they know how much you care about them."
That's right. Spot on. Spot on. Now, so yeah. So if you care about people, show empathy. Empathy is top. In terms of transformational leadership, it's right up because once the people know that you care about them, say words like, how are you feeling today? Is there anything that can help you achieve? Are you going through any challenges? Those kind of questions. The team, as opposed to just asking for deliverables, but you can ask, about how the challenges they're going through, and so for them, it's like an environment where they can really grow, and it's an environment where they can really add value. Yes. So caring is key. Is key. Number one. Yeah.
So listening to you today and other times where I've had conversations with you, I can tell that you are one of them transformational leaders.
What do you feel?
What got you into that space?
Well, it's about I had a burden, just to leave a legacy. I just want to add value. Being in the space of working, being an employee, but I felt that I couldn't really do much because I was there was a ceiling, which was placed right there. But working for myself, I have the ability to be an entrepreneur. I have the ability to make policies, also craft policies, strategies for the organization and run with it. So it's much more easier. Sometimes you want to be a person of value, but because you have a superior sold into your vision, so even when you're excited, you have to just scale down. And there could also be a lot of competition in that environment. So you need sort of like the go ahead from. But if you are in the kind of space where I operate and being an entrepreneur, I'm the one who is the go-to man. So try and reproduce myself in order to engage. And like you said, on my show last week, enthusiasm. I am sold myself to the vision, so I'm just so excited about what I'm doing. So there's a buzz, so everyone taps into that energy. Yeah.
So it seems to me that one of the things that you're driving force is your legacy. What makes that so important for you?
Yeah, when I was much younger, I didn't really have clarity as to what I wanted to achieve, and I just lived a normal life. There was no vision. But as I, got to learn more, I enrolled on the Zig Ziglar program. It's called the Legacy Training. I attended that in Dallas, and that was, a big change in my life. Massive. Zig will say that you can have all you want if you can help enough people get what they want.
Yeah, that's true. I love that quote.
And so that 2014 was, it was a massive turnaround for me. So since then, I've not looked back, and it's been good. It's been good. Tough, a lot of sacrifice, but to stay ahead of the curve, just do more, and show up, just like I'm doing today, and with your good self. Yeah. Thanks, Phil.
Did you have the privilege or opportunity to actually be with Zig when you were there?
No, Zig was gone. Zig was he was late, but his son Tom was very relatable. Tom Ziegler, and I met his wife, very lovely lady. I mean, she's late now as well.
The reason for asking that,
they're powerful.
I was fortunate enough to meet him in person. He came to our city where I live, and one of the things that stands out for me is he was at the front of the room. And he said, and I'm not going to do his accent because that would be an insult, but he had a unique accent and a unique sense of humor. Yeah. And he said, one of the things that's a challenge for everybody is they can't get successful. They can't achieve the things they want to do because they don't have they can't get around to it. So he had a bunch of people pass out these coins, these plastic, like casino chip coins. Awesome. And they were round, and on it had TUIP. He says, now you got around to it, you got no excuses, go do it. He was pretty funny.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's Zig spoke for about 50 years, 5 decades. He spoke in thousands of people, stadiums filled up, and his legacy lives on. And the good thing was that his son also took on that responsibility, and the legacy training was quite powerful. It's talked about the bicycle strategy, your personal life and your business life. There has to be a connection, between both. Doing well in your personal life, if you get employed in any organization, you're going to bring yourself into that organization. So you must be able to grow in certain areas, which is not for this program, but very, very, very powerful.
I don't think I'd heard the bicycle example before.
The bicycle strategy, it talks about in everyone's life, you have spokes in the tire. Really, you have your career, you have your finances, you have the spiritual, you have your personal, and so, for example, if you are, you're not financially savvy, if you have a lot of debt hanging around, financial indiscipline, you're not going to be able to do well in the organization. So you have to work on those areas. If you are not physically or mentally sound, it's going to affect it in the business. So in the business side, which is for the business, you have the operations, you have marketing, you have production, you have administration. And so for the business, marketing, administration, operations, all the spokes in the tire they must be properly aligned. So the front tire and the back tire must be well aligned. If the front tire is like a pear and the back tire is like an apple, you can imagine what would happen to the bicycle. So
I can't.
So massive knowledge, honestly. Yeah, Phil was my hero. I mean, it was just you know
The other thing
awesome,
about
awesome. There are many other heroes, but one of my heroes, yeah.
cool. The other thing about the bicycle
Yeah.
example is that you've got to do those things to keep the balance. So you got to keep moving. Otherwise, if you stop moving, the balance loses. So I'm just adding that to it.
Oh yeah,
Got to keep on moving.
yeah, yeah. But not just moving, but you must keep on growing. You know, learning new things. Because if you your in terms of your mental capacity, your mental fitness, if there's any affects other things that you're doing. So to show up, you need to be mentally agile. You need to be sharp. You need to be focused, and because you can't what you don't have.
Yeah, no,
that's
totally. If you, as Brian Tracy, who I'm aligned with also, he says, if you don't set goals and don't keep moving and keep growing, then what you've done by default is settle for mediocrity. And if you want to get beyond everybody else, you want to be in the top 20% of the population versus the 80%, then it's get on your damn bicycle, ride it, and learn things along the way, because you don't get better doing things, not doing things.
That's right.
You get better by doing things. And if you fail, that's a good thing, right? Because it's a first attempt in learning. You don't learn from not doing. You learn from doing and then modifying and twisting, tweaking, polishing and shining, lifting and molding. That's how Eric got so good, if he's still listening, because he's constantly learning. As you are, my friend. As I am. I mean,
thank you.
I didn't know much about this particular platform I'm on. A shameless plug. I have an affiliate link with a company called StreamYard, which is the platform I'm using to broadcast to the world. And they've simplified the way to communicate, leveraging the social media platforms and the internet. And if you want to know how to do it, you can reach out to me at coachphil.ca for a whole bunch of reasons. That's one. Man, this is, we could talk about leadership a lot longer. We're getting close to the end of the show. And what I wanted to ask you is and there's not just one thing that makes a great leader. So maybe your top 3 or 5 attributes that you would suggest people think about and check in with themselves about being their best leader, being that transformational leader.
That's a good question, Phil. Number one, if you want to be a transformational leader, set goals for yourself and also for the team. All right. Set goals for the team. Number 2, stay engaged with your team as well. Stay engaged with the team. Number 3, delegate more. Number 4, recalibrate regularly, which is an assessment of where you're headed to, because sometimes there needs to be, just like with the pandemic, there needs to be a recalibration, for any business owner. So you recalibrate. Number 5, keep growing. Like we mentioned about the bicycle strategy, you have to keep growing. Leaders that are going to show up and going to add value for a long time and stay in the game have to keep growing. John C. Maxwell talks about moving from your comfort zone to your strength zone. And what's the law of the rubber band? Keep stretching. And number 6, which I think is very important, collaboration. That's a new currency right now. You have to collaborate, not just with your team members, but also with others. In your sphere of influence. So collaboration helps you to get fresh ideas and also to stay fresh, not just fresh, and also to help you to stay ahead of the curve. Yeah, those are the 6 things. Yeah.
Very cool. There we go. I want to put your website up there, which I'm going to bring onto the screen right now.
Thank you
And
so much.
I just want to recap what I heard. One is set goals for yourself and your team. Engage with your team.
Yeah.
Delegate, delegate, and delegate. So I heard that 3 times in my head. Recalibrate, which is another way we talk about that, is do a stop and reassess. Keep growing, keep learning. You're never too old, never too young, and never too knowledgeable. And collaborate. And I really like the collaboration. There's a great book by Wallace D. Wattles called The Science of Getting Rich. And one of the philosophies, principles, and laws, whatever you want to call it, is collaboration. People that's a mindset of abundance versus a mindset of scarcity. And
that's right.
People think that there's only so many slices to the pie. And that's not true. There's creative ways to make more out of things. And if you look at like this device here, which is my phone, that came out of the ether. It came out of somebody's idea and then put together, and it became more. So we can do that as a transformational leader, is to empower people to do the same thing for themselves. Wow, this has been a great conversation with you, my friend. And if it wasn't for the internet and connecting and collaborating with others, you and I would never have met. So we're living proof that collaboration is an important piece of the puzzle these days.
That's right. That's right, Phil. Thank you so much for this.
You're very welcome. I'm going to bring this slide up one more time. Transformational leadership can inspire workers to embrace change by fostering a company culture of accountability, ownership, and workplace autonomy.
Autonomy,
That's great, right? And there's your website. So anybody wants to reach out to my guest, my new friend, there it is. That's where you get to go.
That's it. That's it. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks for being here, my friend. Hang around, and I'll catch up with you in a minute.